In this video, I'm going to be going over 34 of the best modded creatures in Ark Survival Ascended. I did this video about 2 months ago, but there's been so many new modded creatures that have come out that have just been great that I wanted to update the list. So I'm going to be including the ones from the last video and the new ones from this video into one, so it can just be one giant video of the best modded creatures all in here. Also, none of these are in any particular order, but anyway, let's get into it. First on the list, we have the Nothosaurus. This one is a really fantastic one. It's just really well made. The model is really well done. I think the animations are great on it too. It's also just a really unique creature. You can see right here, it's got a bunch of teeth coming out. Like, I just never really seen a creature in Ark that kind of looks like this. And then it's kind of like a half land, half water creature. You can go swim around really fast with it. It's got all kinds of different like venom types and tons of abilities. You'll notice a lot of the modded creatures nowadays, they have like a ton of different abilities, and then they got like a huge like bar on the side that tells you what all it can do. So as you can see right here, there's just so many different abilities. Couldn't really go over all of them, and a lot of the creatures do end up looking like that, but that is the mod page if you want to see it. Of course, I didn't go into a ton of detail. There's a ton that can be go over about this creature, but I'm going to move on to the next one. And number 2, this one's honestly probably one of my favorite modded creatures that's come out recently. It's the Barboldia. Not exactly sure how to say it, but this one is just awesome. It's kind of like a hadrosaur, I believe that's what they're called, and it's absolutely massive. It's like the size of a Rex, and the model on it is just really well done. I mean, it looks almost like an official creature. Like, this one is really great, even close to like the Ark editions, I would say, in terms of quality for this one. And like I said, we don't really have any like hadrosaurs that are this big in the game, and I've always wanted to have one in here because they're just really cool. Like, basically having like a massive herbivore like this, that's not like a sauropod or a bronto or something like that. This one's got some cool stuff too. It has like an armored saddle with a cannon on the back, so you can shoot cannonballs from the back, which is pretty sick. And the armor looks like kind of like a medieval style armor, which is pretty dope. And you can use the regular saddle too, which also has some pretty nice abilities. And number 3 is the Tylosaurus. This one is another really great one. I mean, the model is really well done, and it's a really great underwater creature. It's kind of like a mosasaur, but a lot smaller, and of course, it's a lot better than the mosasaur in Ark, because I definitely think the mosasaur in regular Ark is in need of a TLC, but this one's got just so many abilities as well. It mainly has a bunch of different venom types you can like swap between, and they all do their different things, and then you can deal damage to them. The saddle also allows you to breathe underwater because it's kind of like got that glass thing, so it's like an air pocket in its saddle, which is pretty cool. And then you can also like jump out of the water and do all kinds of cool stuff. It's just got really cool animations, and it's really fun to ride around on. And number 4 is the Sivatherium. This one is a pretty nice one as well. I believe the Sivatherium was in one of the creature votes, or it might have been even multiple, and it was in the top 10. I don't think it ever got like super close to winning, but it was in the top 10, so kind of close. But of course, this came in a mod, and this one's really well done as well. I mean, it's a really unique, super unique creature, and it's one of the reasons I like it so much. There's just not really any other creature like this. It's basically like a giraffe, but it's got horns on it, or I guess antlers, whatever you'd call those. And it's got some nice abilities as well. It can kind of like sit down on the ground. It's also got this like heat vision, which is also pretty great because there's not too many creatures that have it. In Ark Ascended, I don't think there's any right now. I mean, the Snow Owl has it, but that's not in Ark Ascended yet. So being able to see things with the X-ray mode is pretty dope as well. I think that's heat vision, definitely not X-ray. Yeah, definitely not X-ray. And number 5 is the Vector Spinus. This one is a pretty cool one as well. It's basically like a bigger version of the Baryonyx, and it's kind of like a Spino without a sail as well, I guess you could say. It's one of those type creatures. I believe it's a piscivore as well. I might be wrong on that, but this one's a cool one as well. It's got, you know, the typical like theropod abilities you'd have, the bite and all that, and the roar, but it also has a giant turret saddle on it as well, which just adds to its kind of craziness. Just having a theropod with a giant turret saddle on the back, there's nothing really like that in the game, so having this is pretty dope. And here's the mod page if you want to check this one out as well. And number 6 is the Bombardier Beetle. This one is another really cool one, another super unique one. I definitely like when mod creatures come in with new creatures that are really unique and nothing like what we have in the current game. And this is definitely one of those creatures, I would say. It's basically just a giant beetle you can ride on. It can kind of fly, but it more like hovers. You basically have to hold your jump button, and then it will just kind of like float around. It's pretty cool, and it's decently quick on land. I mean, it's not anything crazy. It's just a pretty cool creature overall. If you wanted some more bug creatures in the game that you can ride around on, the beetle is going to be a pretty good one for you. And number 7 is the Gecko. This one might not be as crazy or large as some of the other ones, but it's just a nice little shoulder pet to have around the world. You can find them pretty commonly, and then you can just have them on your shoulder, and it's just a pretty cool, cute creature as well. Looks pretty nice. I know this one's been pretty popular, so I thought I'd put in there because, you know, the Gecko mod, I mean, it is a pretty cool creature overall. This next one is the Draconis, and as you can tell, it's not like all the other ones. All the other ones are more like based in real world creatures, but this one is a fantasy type creature, but it is a really cool fantasy creature. It's one of the first Ark Ascended mods. I mean, it came out like a few months after Ark Ascended came out, so it was one of the earlier ones, and it's still a pretty cool one, mainly the underwater creature, but you can also use it on land as well. It's probably great, especially if you're playing on the center. You can use this to traverse the center map, and it can be a good creature for that. And number 9 is the Acro. I know I've talked about the Ark editions on my channel like 50,000 times, so I'm going to make this one quick, but I do want to include them. They are coming to the official game, so if you would rather just wait for them to come to the official game, then you might not want to get them. But if you do want to mess around with them, I would highly recommend it, as they are really well made. So I'm just going to go over them quickly. Like I said, I've gone over the Ark Editions creatures a lot. The Acro is a really cool one, though. It's a giant theropod. It's with a dope roar. And then after that, we have the Brachiosaurus. Obviously, the Brachies should be in the game, and you could put this version in as a mod. When it comes to the official, it will get a TLC, so it's going to look different. But if you want to have the Brachie in the game, this is definitely the best mod to get it. It has like a roar that can scare off a Giga, and it has this giant stomp, which does a ton of damage. And if you want to check out the Brachiosaurus, there's the mod page for it. But we also have the Arkology as well. Probably one of my favorite aquatic creatures from the Ark Editions collection of mods, as it's basically like a giant sea turtle that can go in land and water, and it has a buff where it does a ton of damage to jellyfish and can harvest them for biotoxins. So if you're wanting to farm biotoxin, the Arkology is pretty great for that as well. This one's also getting a TLC when it comes to the official game, but for now you can use the mod version, which I think still looks pretty cool even without the TLC update that's going to be coming eventually. And number 12 is the Anomalocaris, another Ark Editions one, but this one's not coming to the official game, so this one would actually be a good one to add as a mod. The only thing is, it's a premium mod and it costs $5. But out of all the premium mods, I would say this one's actually probably worth getting, as the Ark Editions mod and Gruga, who makes them, is just really well made. They're definitely worth it, and they definitely feel like premium creatures, as the animations and everything they do is just really great. Of course, the abilities this thing has, it has like 3 different modes you can go between, like different venoms, I think it does. And it can also turn invisible, which will transform it into an Ichthyosaurus, which you can then like stalk people. I guess it'd only be useful in PvP, but still pretty cool either way. Here's the mod page, but do remember this one costs $5 if you do want to end up getting it. And then after that, number 13, we have the Dinotherium as well. I'm pretty sure most of you guys know about the Dinotherium by now, but if you don't, it's basically like a gigantic elephant with the cool roar that gives a buff. I believe it does like melee damage increase, and it's absolutely massive. It's like even bigger than a Praetor and stuff, so this one is a pretty cool one. And finally, for the Ark Editions creatures, we have the Helicoprion. So it's basically like a pretty big shark. I think it's like a little bit bigger than the Megalodon, or at least longer anyway. And it basically has the ability to turn items into blueprints, and it has a chance of destroying them. And then you can basically like upgrade the stat to do that, so you can get a higher chance of actually getting blueprints from it. Overall, it's not like the strongest creature or anything. It's mainly just the blueprint ability that it's used for. And this one is coming to the official game as well. And number 15, we have the Livyatan. This one is a really cool one. This one is a premium one though, so it does cost $5, but that's the only 2 premium ones on this list, the Anomalocaris and this one, so no other more premiums on this list. But this one is a really dope one. It's basically like a massive like whale type thing, and it's like the biggest creature, or at least the biggest underwater creature in the game. That's it compared to Elitesictus and a Shastasaurus, which Shastasaurus is like current biggest underwater creature, so it's even bigger than that. It's got so many abilities, I can't even go over all of them. You just saw like the sonic boom it has right there. It can also jump out of the water as well, which is pretty cool looking animation. It's just overall really dope. It also has multiple different saddles, and it has its own crafting station for which you make all of its saddles. There's the regular one, then there's the bone one, as you can see right here, which just looks really cool overall. And then there's the giant futuristic laser one that takes element and then can shoot lasers off the back of it. So it's pretty much like a tech saddle, but it doesn't look as futuristic as a normal tech saddle would. Overall, I think this one's really cool. I like massive creatures, so basically having like a Titanosaur of the sea type creature, which is kind of like what this is pretty awesome. Number 16, I have the Godzilla Ark mod. This one's super iconic because it was one of the mods originally in Ark Survival Evolved and is popular in there. It's gotten a TLC in Ark Ascended, so it's even better now. And I mean, it's pretty much like if you want a version of Godzilla in your world, then this is a great one to have. As you can ride around with it, a saddle, it's got the atomic breath and everything, and it's around the size of a Titanosaurus, so this one is pretty massive, and it moves really quickly too for being how big it is. Overall, I mean, this one's pretty dope, but of course, if you don't want something that's like crazy like this, you probably wouldn't want in there. But if you want something more than just like more creatures to the game, if you want something a bit crazier, then the Godzilla Ark mod is pretty cool. And number 17 is the Thorax Spider, or the Jumping Spider. This one was one that almost won the Aberration vote, and there's going to be a type that's going to be added to Aberration, but it's more of a shoulder pad. It's not like this one, which was the one that was... But this one's basically just what was in that original vote, so... But just put into the game, and it can basically jump around super far. It can climb up walls, and the climbing animation is actually really satisfying. So this one is quite popular with the people, especially the people that wanted it to be added to Aberration. So it's cool that there's a mod for it, and if you definitely want it in the game, then I'd recommend getting it. And number 18 is the Evo Rex. This one's part of the Paleo Ark mod, and this one is really good as well. It replaces the Rex, so if you want to keep the regular Rex in the game, then I wouldn't recommend getting this one. But if you want something new, then this one is really great. I mean, the animations and the model itself, like, they're almost as good, if not better, than what Wildcard makes in the official game. Like, these animations are great. And there's one other creature from the Paleo Ark mod, which is going to be next, which I think is even better than this one. But this is the Evo Rex, and it's really cool. It's got a very similar abilities to the regular Rex, except for it can kind of do like stomps to the side. I think it has a tail wipe. It has a cool roar as well that it can do while it's moving. Overall, it's just really good, and it's a lot more maneuverable as well. And number 19 is the Evo Giga. This one is also part of the Paleo Ark mod, same one as the Evo Rex, and it will replace the Giga if you do it. So make sure to keep that in mind. If you don't want your regular Gigas replaced, then you probably don't want to get the Evo Giga mod. But at the same time, this one's really good, as it's pretty much way better than the regular Giga. It looks phenomenal. I mean, the model, like I said, with the Evo Rex, this one's definitely better than the regular Giga in the game. It's just really great. It has some cool abilities, like the regular Giga just has a bite. This one has a giant like tail stomp it can do. It can basically like go into this crouch mode, which you can use to actually bring it into the tech cave and then in the overseer arena, which is really sick as well. It also has like a rage mode it goes into, which makes it even stronger. And this one is just, it's so good. Definitely worth getting. And here's the mod page for the Paleo Ark Evolution mod if you want to get both of those creatures. And number 20 is the Diamantinasaurus, I think is how it's said. This one is a great sauropod. It's really unique abilities too. I mean, it's just a really great looking model, so it just fits into the world pretty well, but also it has some pretty unique abilities. You can find it in the wild and it will be sleeping, and you have to basically just feed it while it's sleeping. And you can also put it to sleep while you have it tamed as well. And then it has a platform saddle, a really unique looking one with like this wooden platform, and you can attach like different attachments to it, which basically just reduce the weight of items in its inventory. And I believe one of them like automatically creates medical brews as well, which is pretty cool. Overall, I think this is a great addition to the game. And number 21 is the Shantungosaurus. This one's similar to the Barboldia, I think that's how it would be said, and it's pretty cool as well. And it's basically like another giant hadrosaur, and this is one I've wanted to have in the game for a while, which is one of the reasons I have it on the list, because it's like one of the only mods that has this creature in it, and it's a really cool one overall. Just a massive herbivore. Nothing really like this with this size, other than, like I said, the Barboldia, which was also on the list as well. So two different, if you want to have a variety of these kind of giant hadrosaurs, then both of these mods could be cool. Number 22 is the Sunken World editions. This one actually adds a decent amount of underwater creatures and gets updated quite a bit. So I'm not going to be going over a specific creature, and I'm not going to go over all the creatures in the mod. I'll let you discover that if you decide if you actually want to get this mod or not. But one of the cool ones, this is like hammerhead shark looking one. There's also this creature right here. Don't exactly remember what it's called, but it's pretty unique as well. I don't really have anything like it in Ark, but it just adds basically a bunch of underwater creatures, a ton of unique ones, and they've all got their own really cool looks to them that kind of add to the ocean a bit. So if you want more in the ocean, then I would definitely recommend getting the Sunken World mod. And number 23 is the Moro Rex, which if you can't already tell is basically just the Indominus Rex with a different name, so they don't get copyrighted. But this one is really cool as well. I mean, if you want the Indominus Rex in your game, I think this is the best way to go, as it's pretty much the best mod out there right now for an Indominus Rex. I mean, it's way bigger than the current Rex. It's got tons of abilities, like being able to go invisible as you'd expect from an Indominus Rex, and it's also, I believe, can pin things down as well. It's got all kinds of different abilities it can do, and it's really strong overall. And another creature part of the exact same mod is the Moro Raptor, which of course is just the Indoraptor, except for this one actually has the exact same colors as it as well. The other one, it was kind of hard to get the exact white, but the Indoraptor or the Moro Raptor is pretty cool as well. It's got like a pounce ability, you can put it to sleep, and it's pretty fast as well. You make the Indo or the Moro Raptor in this little egg hatching thing. Same with the Moro Rex as well. You can kind of hatch them both from this station, which is pretty neat and pretty unique as well. It has its own little crafting station for that. And this is the mod if you want to get both of the Moro Rex and Moro Raptor. Number 25 is the Arkology mod. Now this one doesn't actually add any new creatures, but what it does is it adds tons of new variants for creatures, and they look really cool. Like some of the coolest looking variants, and it adds them to all kinds of different creatures, and it also adds a ton of new alpha creatures. Right here you could see there's an alpha mammoth, and then there's the alpha trike. As you could see, the horns and stuff look different on it too, but there's just so many different variants in this mod, some of them for even newer creatures as well. Like this one's definitely worth, if you want some more variety in your game, I would definitely recommend this one, as basically they all look fantastic. Number 26 is the Eocarcharia, and this one is a pretty like mid-sized theropod. It's pretty well made though. If you want some more theropods in the game, this one's definitely a cool one. And one unique part about it is you can actually put armor on it, and it's got like different saddle attachments as well. It has knockback attack as well, so you can kind of just knock things back pretty far and get them away from you, as well as like pretty decent turning radius and all that kind of stuff. And number 27 is the Monolophosaurus. This is another theropod. This one's a bit smaller though. It's around the size of a raptor, maybe a little bit bigger. It's pretty cool as well. It kind of reminds me of a Dillo, except for it looks a little bit different. It doesn't have the poison spitter things, but it kind of looks like one, just a lot bigger. And of course you can actually ride this one as well, and it's got some cool things too. It has a shield saddle like attachment that you can have on it, so you can protect yourself from incoming fire, as well as it has a saw blade you can put on the little tip thing there, which makes it do more damage, and I think it does bleed attack damage as well. And number 28 is the Carcharodontosaurus TLC. Now I think the Carchar in the regular game is pretty well made, but you know, this Carchar, if you want something a bit different, then this one could be cool. It has a very different pattern design on it, as well as the roar on it is a lot cooler in my opinion. Like you can basically do this roar while you're running, and it looks really sick. But if you just want a different variant of the Carchar, it also comes in the small version as well. So if you want a smaller Carchar, there's also the big one and the small one you can get. And then number 29 is the Stygimoloch. This one is basically just the Stygimoloch skin. If you guys didn't know or didn't play back in like 2018, they released an event where they released skins for dinosaurs instead of the actual dinosaurs, which was pretty controversial. But one of them was the Stygimoloch, and they basically just made that skin into a dinosaur. It's pretty simple, but I think it's a cool addition as well, just having the Stygimoloch in the game. So I thought I would put it on here because someone did mimic it, and I think it's pretty nice. Number 30 is the Meiolania. I probably said that one wrong again, but this one's really cool. This is basically like what the giant turtle should be, I would imagine, or the Carbonimes. Like this one's just a bit sick. It's basically just a little bit bigger than it, but the shell is way bigger. It can also like go inside of its shell, which is really cool, and something I don't understand why the regular turtle can't do either. It also has a giant like artillery cannon on the back as well, which is pretty dope. I think this one's just a pretty cool one overall. Number 31 is the Zaldrir dragon. This one is gotta be one of my favorites. I found out about it pretty recently, and it's just really great. First off, I mean, I do love some dragons, and this dragon mod is really well made. Some of the animations are borrowed from the Wyvern, but a lot of them are custom made as far as I know, and they're really cool. It has this really sick looking dive animation where it kind of like zooms in and makes it look super cinematic, which just makes it really fun to ride around on. And when you're going slow, it kind of like coasts instead of like just like flapping its wings a bunch. So like if you're really high up, it makes it look really cool, just having it kind of like coast in the air. I really like that as well. There's different sizes and different tiers of them, as well as there's like alpha versions you can find around the map. I haven't played with it a ton, so I know there's even more that I haven't really discovered yet, but for a dragon mod, I think this one might be one of the best out there. There's the mod page for it as well, and of course it gives more information on all the dragons. But at number 32 is the Meraxes. This one is another theropod one, and it's pretty cool. It's definitely a unique looking theropod. I don't know what it is about it exactly, but it just looks pretty different compared to everything else. But I think that's a good thing, as it definitely looks pretty cool. I don't know if there's a ton for me to say. It does have a cool like stomp ability it can do as well. And I think it has like some sort of healing mode ability, but that is the Meraxes. And number 33 is the Edestus. I definitely said that one wrong, but it's basically like a giant shark. And of course I like some sharks, and this one's a pretty cool shark mod overall. Basically just gives you some more underwater creatures, but this one being one of them. I believe it also adds a different variant of this one as well that you can find at the bottom of the oceans as well, so you kind of get two different variants for the same mod. And overall it's just a pretty cool and really like dope pattern on it as well for a shark. So definitely more, if you want some more underwater creatures ones, this one would be good. And then number 34, this one actually adds a bunch of tech creatures as well, and they're ones that weren't originally in Ark Survival Evolved. These are new custom tech creatures, like the tech berry, the otter, there's a woolly rhino, the Terrajapa as well, and there's like an Anki. There's just tons of different tech variants in here as well. Like the Equus was one I didn't really expect them to have in here, and I believe this mod was also in Ark Survival Evolved, and it had a lot more, of course, because some creatures that haven't been added yet had tech variants, which I imagine will get added. Like the Tech Reaper was in the original one, so when Aberration comes out, it'll probably get a tech variant. Also, like this one also has a Tech Wyvern as well, and it has one for each. It has the lightning and poison variants of the tech ones. This is the Tech Creatures Collection mod if you want to get that one as well. But that's going to be it for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe. Thanks for watching, and bye.